Hi there, I'm Nicola from Mountain Training. This is the second Social Media Monday. So today's session is about setting up and reviewing your social media accounts and also jargon, because there's a lot of that in the social media world. Unfortunately, this isn't a recording of the session that I ran live because that didn't record. So I'm doing this as a follow-up. Thankfully, only one person asked a question and I have got that written down, so I can, I'll go through that at the end in case anybody's interested. So to get started, I'm just going to go through very briefly some stats on each of 4 of the social media platforms, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about how to set up any of those accounts if you choose to use them, and also some common jargon from that platform, and then I'll kind of round up with a bit of an overview about how you can decide which one or ones are right for you. So starting with Facebook. Facebook has 2.41 billion users worldwide, and 37 million of those are in the UK. Not quite even, but not too far off. So 52% women, 48% men. And of all internet users in the UK, about 78% of them use Facebook. So that's a lot of people. So it's likely that your target audience are on Facebook. And on average, users log in 8 times a day, or log in or open the app. They refresh their newsfeed 11 to 15 times a day, and they spend roughly 20 minutes per session. So people are spending a lot of time on Facebook, and therefore you have potentially a lot of opportunities to get in front of them, but there are also a lot of other people on Facebook trying to do likewise. So it's not always easy, but it's definitely possible. And for those of you who don't know, Facebook is predominantly a photo, video, update, messaging platform. There's lots of different content types going on Facebook. Next is YouTube. So YouTube has 1.3 billion users worldwide, 37 million of them in the UK. So YouTube and Facebook are in a bit of a battle to see who has the most, but at the minute I think Facebook is just about winning, but surely it depends very much on how they're measuring things. Definitely more men than women on YouTube, so 62% men, 38% women, and the average viewing session is 40 minutes long. So people are committed to watching things on YouTube. They're not just watching short little clips and memes like they do on Facebook and some of the other channels. They are going to YouTube specifically to watch something a lot of the time. So that's encouraging. And it's video content of all types. So instructional videos, music videos, and everything in between. Instagram then. So Instagram has 261 million users worldwide, so a lot fewer than the previous 2 social media platforms. 24 million users in the UK. Slight imbalance here, so 54% females, 46% males. And the majority of users are under 25, so it's definitely a younger audience. 80% of users follow a business or a brand, which suggests they are looking for inspiration. They're not perturbed at all by the fact that businesses and companies are on Instagram. They want to see what you've got to say. They want to see what you're doing. And it is predominantly an image-based platform. So people are there to be able to scroll through lots of pretty pictures. They will sometimes read what you write alongside the post, but predominantly it's all about the images. And then Twitter is the 4th platform that I'm going to be looking at today. So Twitter has 321 million users worldwide, 13.6 million in the UK. And 37% of Twitter users are between the ages of 18 and 29, 25% are 30 to 49. So it's definitely a different age demographic to Instagram. I'm not quite sure why, but the place I was getting the stats from started talking about Great Britain here. So 59% of Twitter users are men in the UK, in Great Britain, sorry, while 41% are women. So there's a definite bit of an imbalance there. And Twitter has a 280 character limit, and then you can also add photos, videos, GIFs, and it's all about the latest news, really. Twitter is where you find things out a lot of the time in terms of what's happening right now. You know, there's a reason why on the news, often politicians, sports people and what have you, their Twitter accounts are quoted because that's where they go to tell the world. They don't go to Facebook to tell the world, they go to Twitter. So moving on then a little bit more into how to set up your account. So back to Facebook. So here's a brief overview of the stats that I went through earlier. So setting up your account. So your cover photo, your profile photo, page category, page template, and your about page are the main things to get right on your Facebook page. And also, just to clarify, I suppose at this point, just while I finish getting these up, you can have a personal account, a personal profile on Facebook, and you can also have a page. So a page is for a business, generally speaking, and you can't set up a page unless you've already got a profile. So if you're wanting to join Facebook on behalf of your company, you'll first need to set up your personal profile, which you can have a very limited amount of information on there, but you need to do that first, and then you create a page to promote your business. So it's easier to do this through the screenshot, really. So your profile photo is this round one here, probably your logo, assuming that you have one, or your face if you haven't. And then a cover photo, which is this big rectangular one here. So we've chosen to use a bit of a mashup of people from our ethos video. It could just as easily have been a really pretty mountainscape image or a climbing wall image. Whatever you choose to have as your cover photo, it should make it clear who you are and what you're all about, because it's one of the first things people will see, and as you can see, it's massive. So try and link it as well as you can to what you do and what you're all about. So your page category, Facebook has a list of possible page categories. Awarding organisation for mountaineering qualifications isn't one of them, unfortunately, so we opted to go for the non-profit organisation. But I have also chosen education in amongst it, but non-profit is the one that comes up first. So have a little think about, have a little look through the list to see which one you think best fits you. Your page template, so there is a limited number of page templates as well. So I've gone for the non-profit one for mountain training. There is also a business one, so you're more likely then on the business template to have slightly different options here, where they could potentially book a course or something like that directly through your Facebook page. As we're a non-profit, that's not something that is an option to us. So have a little play around with the page template as well, because that can make a difference. And then the about area, where you put all your personal details, so your website, your business phone number, your email address, all that kind of stuff. That's really important on Facebook, because people often will visit the about page of your business page to find out a bit more about you, basically. And I did a webinar earlier in the year, and I can't remember how many it was, but a staggering number of people will visit your Facebook page before they visit your website or your brick and mortar location if you've got one. So it's definitely worth getting that right, because people are reading them on Facebook. So there's a lot of jargon on Facebook. I'm not sure if that's because it's one of the older ones or because there are just a lot of things you can do on Facebook. So here comes probably the most popular set of words used. So like, it's hopefully fairly obvious, it's a way of giving positive feedback, but you can also add different reactions. So for example, if on a mobile, if you kind of hold down clicking on this on a computer, if you click on it, it gives you these options. If you hover over it on a computer, it gives you these different options. So you can just like, or you can love, or you can haha, laughing, or wow, or sad, or angry. So you're allowed to have those 6 different emotions on Facebook. And that's interesting as well, because most recently Facebook have started to prioritize the following 5 rather than the first. So if people have loved a post as opposed to just liking it, that counts for more in the Facebook algorithm, because somebody has taken that extra millisecond to bother to hover to click a different icon rather than just clicking like and to carrying on scrolling. So that's worth knowing. And if you like something, so if you like somebody's post, you're kind of showing your appreciation for it and adding a reaction. You can also like a page. So I could go to Bryn Williams Mountaineering page and like his page, or I could go to Bryn Williams as a person and I can try to be his friend. So that's a bit different. If I like his page, I will start to see potentially some of his posts in my newsfeed. So a few more jargony words in there, but they'll get explained shortly. So following is a way of hearing from people you're interested in, even if you're not friends or even if you don't like their page. So I could, for example, choose to follow a page but not like it. If I decide to like a page, I will automatically therefore be following it, but I can decide to unfollow it, and I can choose to follow a page and not like it. And essentially it's all about managing what you see in your newsfeed. So for example, I went to the Trail Magazine Facebook page. I can like it or I can follow it. If I like it, as I said, it will automatically think that I want to follow it as well, but I can just click the follow button and it means I don't like it. So I don't then appear in that page's list of people that like it. So sharing things, so people and pages can share things on Facebook, and generally speaking, you share other pages posts and sometimes other people's posts depending on their settings. So some people have their personal accounts on Facebook set up in such a way that you can't share things that they post. Other people, it's fine. You can always share a pages post, and you're sharing it to your timeline, which is something I'll come to in a minute. This was posted yesterday by Climb Scotland. So I can click on share here and I can share this post as a person, as Nikoli Esheniecka, or I can share it as mountain training because I'm logged in and I'm registered. I'm kind of logged as one of the administrators of Mountain Training's page, so I can choose what to do then. Or I can comment on it. So underneath this post, I can say, looks like a really good barbecue. Well done, everybody, or something to that effect. You can comment on things. Anything you comment is in the public domain. People that go to look at that post will see your comment. So tagging and tagging on Facebook. So a tag links a person, page, or place to something you post, like a status update or a photo. For example, you can tag a photo to say who's in it, or post a status update to say who you're with or where you are. So I started typing a post earlier on, trying to imagine I was one of you who'd just run a first day of a course or something. We had a great group this week on our, and then if I put in the @ sign, Facebook knows I'm about to start looking for somebody. So then when I start typing the words mountain training, it starts searching Facebook for mountain training because I've just told it I'm looking for somebody. And then if I click on that, this will turn blue and I can carry on writing my post. So it could be our mountain training rock skills course. And it just means that once I've finished and once I post that, anybody that sees it will also be able to see that mountain training is tagged in it, and they can then click on the mountain training link and come to our page. So it's really your way of raising awareness of us amongst your followers. So somebody that sees your post will also see that you're connected to us in some way, and we are the national awarding body, so that adds a certain gravitas to what you're doing. You can also tag people in exactly the same way. Your timeline, so that as a page, that is all of the things that you are doing or that you're connected to. So for us, when I go to our page, the top of it is upcoming events, then it's got photos, then it goes into a few other bits and pieces, and then it shows the most recent thing I posted, followed by the second most recent, and it's just basically a timeline of things you've done, and it's part of your profile. So individuals have a timeline as well, but this is a picture of our page timeline. Your newsfeed is slightly different. So your newsfeed is normally the page you'll land on when you sign in to Facebook, and it's this central column here basically, and that is a constantly updating stream of information from people that you follow, people and pages that you follow. And that will vary. The amount of it, sorry, not the amount of it, the type of stuff that shows there is decided by Facebook. So if, for example, you only had 3 friends on Facebook and you didn't follow any pages or anything else, then probably you would see everything that those 3 friends post on Facebook, because Facebook doesn't need to make a decision, it can just show you everything. If you, however, have 500 friends and you follow 300 different Facebook pages or businesses, whatever, Facebook has to make a decision about what to show you, because it can't show you everything, because those 800 combined people and pages will be producing far too much content for you to be able to see it all. So Facebook has to make a decision about what to show you. So it's highly likely that you will have friends on Facebook whose posts you never see, probably because you've rarely interacted with them in the past, you don't message each other. Facebook knows that, and so it won't really show you their posts unless one of your good friends starts to interact with them, and then it might try it out to see if you like it or not. So it's worth knowing that Facebook is in control of everything that it shows here. That's a news feed. And then finally, notifications. So that's this little bell just up here. You can have these come through as what they call a push notification to your mobile device, which means that it'll ping or make some kind of noise to tell you that something's going on. If you have all of those turned off, you'll still have a notifications feed, but you'll just have to go and look at it by clicking on the little bell icon, and then it's just a list of everything really that is going on. But again, that is slightly filtered by Facebook, so it can't show you everything, but it'll show you a selection of the things it thinks you want to know based on what you normally do on Facebook. So it could be somebody's written into a group that you like, or they've posted on your page, or they've tagged you in a photo. Could be any number of things, but Facebook's trying to tell you it's happened. So moving on to YouTube, brief overview again that I showed you before of who uses YouTube. So setting up a channel on YouTube is pretty straightforward if you have a Gmail or a Google Mail account. So YouTube is owned by Google, so the two link together pretty well. You can't set up a YouTube channel unless you have a Gmail account or a Google Mail account. So that's one of the first things you'll have to do if you decide that this is something you would like. So they're called slightly different things, but the principles are the same. So they call this small one a channel icon, and they call the big long one channel art. But essentially, it's your logo and an image. And a description which sits within the about page. So unlike on Facebook, where probably a lot of people over the years will visit your about page, on YouTube that's much less the case. People just tend to watch the content. They're less interested in who you are, but it's still worth getting it right just to make sure all the info is correct, as well as your contact details. It's up to you whether you want to make your contact details public or not. So whether you want your phone number, your email address, and your website on there visible or not, or whether you just want to be a channel, is totally up to you. And thankfully, there's a lot less jargon on YouTube. So like, share, and save are the three things that people can do to a video. So they can like, or they can give it a thumbs down, they can dislike it. They can share it, so they can either share it via their social media channels, which means that this YouTube video could appear on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. Also, if you click on that share button, you get the option to get some code, which then will allow you to embed it onto your website. So the embedding process is still a separate step that may involve your web developer or yourself if you do it yourself, but it can really easily give you the code to do that. And saving is something that people can do on YouTube, so they can have playlists of videos that they like, or different collections of videos, so they can save it as well. And then the only other kind of common word is recommended stuff. So when I log into YouTube through my work account, this is what comes up. So knitting, yoga videos, dance music, and slightly bizarrely, something about Gordon Ramsay, plus from channels that we subscribe to, some bouldering films. And this recommended is all about your activity on YouTube, on Google, and on Chrome. So those three things all talk to each other, and they track what you're doing, and it tries to show you videos that it thinks you're going to like, because if you like a video, you'll watch it, and therefore you'll stay on the platform for longer, and see any potential advertising that may also appear. So it's in their interests to show you videos that you're going to like and watch. Moving on to Instagram then. Instagram has all those people using it. I went through that already. So setting it up, there aren't many areas, actually, important areas on Instagram, so do them all. So your profile photo, which is this one, your username, which is up here. There is a character limit to that, which is why we are MTN training rather than mountain training. Your bio, which is these 3 lines here. That's all I was allowed to write. Your page category. We are, again, a non-profit organisation, and your contact details. So if somebody clicked on that, they could send us an email or give us a call. It's also got the website in there, and it's also got our address. Jargon on Instagram. So Instagram is owned by Facebook. So they use a lot of similar terminology, but it's not all exactly the same. So newsfeed is very similar, following is very similar, liking is the same but has a slightly different icon, commenting and tagging. So they all are, generally speaking, the same as on Facebook. So instead of the thumbs up or any different reactions, you just get a heart to show that you like it. You can comment on it, you can scroll through the images, the comments show up below just here, and it will often condense those, so you might only see a couple. And you can tag people into your comments or your description. Stories are something on Instagram. They do exist on Facebook, but they definitely have been on Instagram for longer, and they're much more used on Instagram than they are on Facebook. And it's just a way of posting content that then disappears after 24 hours. So for example, when I was on this early this morning, Katie Climb has obviously recently added to her story because she's the latest person in my list after us. So if I click on that, I will get to see a stream of content, whatever it is that Katie's posted in the last 24 hours. It might only be one thing, there might be a whole series of them, depending on how much content she's added. But it can be a nice way of giving people a bit of a, I don't know, people sometimes use it for a sort of behind the scenes look at, a day in the life of a mountain leader, that kind of thing, or a day in the life at mountain training, which in Kapelkurig is occasionally not that interesting. So we haven't done that yet, but it's something we may consider. So yeah, it's just a way of reducing the visibility of content, but giving a bit of an exclusive feel, because only people who've seen it that day will get to see it. So hashtags are used quite a lot on Instagram, as they are on Twitter, which I'll get to in a minute. And you can add hashtags into the caption or comments on a post. And after you tag your post with a hashtag, you'll be able to tap that hashtag and see a page that shows all photos and videos that other people have uploaded using that same hashtag. So it's a way of kind of grouping content together. And you want to have a little bit of a think about what kind of hashtags to use, because you're basically joining a conversation. So for example, hashtag climbing is a very popular, very well used hashtag. So if at any time, if somebody clicked on that hashtag, they would see the most recent posts from everybody on Twitter using that hashtag, and it would just constantly be updating. So you kind of can join the conversation in that way. People can find you in that way as well. So hashtag lowland leader is one that gets used quite a bit, which I'll show you in a bit. Ours is hashtag learn, lead, inspire, because that's part of our ethos. So we've turned it into a hashtag. You can, by all means, create your own hashtags or use existing ones to kind of join a conversation. So here's a good example. So Anna Humphreys posted earlier a quote from Louisa May Alcott, followed by a series of hashtags. So if I clicked on the mountain girl hashtag, I would expect to see a whole load of posts of women in the mountains, images of women in the mountains. And direct message is another phrase used on Instagram quite a bit, or DM. So it's a way of interacting privately with somebody. So everything else on the platform is in the public domain, unless you decide to direct message somebody. And you do that by going to their profile on the platform and clicking message, and then just typing in whatever it is you'd like to say. Moving on to Twitter. So a brief overview of Twitter again, just as a reminder. So important areas, again, similarly to Instagram, there aren't that many, so let me just click through them all. So your header photo, this big one, your photo, your logo, this one, your username. We've chosen our Twitter and Instagram accounts have the same username, just to try and make it easier for people to find us and to remember what it is. If each of your different platforms has a totally different username, it's going to be really difficult for people to find you. So try and make it easy. If you can fit it all easily within the character limit, then even better. But it will depend on what your company name is, what your business name is, what your personal name is, whatever you decide to use. Also, this username can be different to your display name. So our display name is Mountain Training, but our username is @MTN Training, because we couldn't fit mountain in. Your bio, so similarly to Instagram, it's not very long, and it can include hashtags. It's also got our location, our website, and when we joined the platform. So jargon on Twitter. So follow people or followers. So following is a way of seeing what people are tweeting effectively. If you follow somebody, it means that their tweets will probably show in your timeline. Again, it's all based on a bit of an algorithm, but in principle, that's what will happen. and followers are people who are following you. So it could be people that might be interested in what you're posting. They might want to come on a course. They might be your friends. They might be your neighbors, just people who want to see what you've got to say. Replying, so that's this little speech bubble icon down here. So that's you responding to a message. So Graham Mooney posted this earlier today. So I could click there to reply to him, and it would then, anything I write is in the public domain, but he will get alerted that I've replied to him. All of my followers will see my reply and therefore be able to link back to his original post if they wanted to. Instead, what I've chosen to do on this occasion is to retweet it. So that would normally be grey, but because I've retweeted it, it's green to show that I've already done it. Or I could retweet with a comment. So that's like a way of quoting a tweet, if you like. So you add a message at the start to say, such a shame that, in this example, it could be something along the lines of, such a shame somebody's dropped out last minute. Get in touch with Graham if you're interested. And then I could tweet that, and underneath my short message would be Graham's original tweet. So that's definitely an option as well. And then liking is the heart icon, as it is on many of the other platforms, which is just a way of showing appreciation or giving feedback. So hashtags are used quite a lot on Twitter as well, and the principles are the same as they are on Instagram, in that if I clicked on the Lowland Leader hashtag, I would get to see a whole load of other posts from people who've used that same hashtag, and therefore could kind of find other people who are doing the qualification or look at the pictures they've taken whilst out and about. For example, this post in particular, underneath it wouldn't fit on the screenshot, but was a comment from the Butterfly Association. So I would hazard a guess that they have searched for the hashtag butterfly to find out who's talking about butterflies. They've seen Heath's post and they replied to it to say beautiful photo or something along those lines. So it can be a way that people will find you. And he's also tagged us and a few other organisations in the post, because so OS Leisure our Ordnance Survey is that kind of started off the Get Outside hashtag, so that's probably why they're tagged in it. And obviously we run the Lowland Leader courses, administer the qualification, so that's why he's tagged us in it. And so we've retweeted it so that other people can see and learn a bit more about butterflies. And mentioning is what it's called on Twitter, but it's the same as tagging in the other platforms. It's basically just adding somebody into your post using the @ symbol followed by their username. So trending is something that people talk about on Twitter. So a trend is a topic or hashtag determined algorithmically to be one of the most popular on Twitter at that moment. So I had a quick look earlier while I was putting this together. So this is apparently what's trending in the UK at the moment. Love Island and Loose Women and various other bits. And so that is defined for you based on some basic information that you've inputted. So it's unlikely that people on Twitter in America are seeing the same list of hashtags. It's slightly different and tailored to you based on where you are and what you're up to. And then again, direct message, it's the same. It's private communication on Twitter. So you can direct message somebody by clicking onto their profile and then clicking that little message, that little letter icon. Underneath here is a circular icon with 3 little dots. So I just wanted to click on that to show you what's there. So you can block and report people or mute people. You can view their lists. So view lists of Twitter accounts that they're interested in. Yeah, there are various different things you can do in terms of interacting. So it's decision time. Which social media platforms should I use? So I would definitely, thinking back to the previous session last week, which was about your target audience and your unique selling point, is definitely thinking about who you're trying to reach, because each of the platforms, as I've briefly outlined, does have a slightly different demographic. So not everybody that's on Facebook will also be on Twitter and Instagram, and not everybody watches things on YouTube. So it's about trying to think, who are you trying to get to, and where are they? What are they doing online? And also definitely worth thinking about how often you're going to be active on social media, because it can, if you let it, be a massive time drain. In some organizations, it's somebody's full-time job is to monitor social media, is to post things, respond to things, and that kind of thing. So you have to be realistic about how much time you've got. And so just something, I guess, to be aware of. is that generally speaking, if you're going to try and, you know, do things as well as possible, you want to be posting on Facebook at least a few times a week. So 3 to 5 times a week, you want to post something on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, you can get away with posting multiple times a day, or at the end of the day with lots of photos from your day. On Twitter, you can tweet separate things multiple times a day, and on YouTube, whenever you've got content, whenever you've got a video worth sharing, adding to your channel. Now, this doesn't mean that if you choose to use Instagram, you have to post multiple times a day, every single day. But those are kind of the norms. That's what's expected, I guess. So my sort of final thought would be it's definitely worth doing 1 or 2 well, rather than all of them badly. So if you are the sort of person who takes a lot of photos when you're out running courses, then it might be better using Instagram or Facebook. If you quite like sharing useful hints and tips and thoughts, then Twitter might be the way to go. If you quite like the idea of making little mini instructional videos, or you know, kind of other fun videos, then YouTube might be the place for you. So quite often people do a mixture of all of them and the various other platforms that are out there. But I would definitely recommend, if you're new to this, start with 1 or 2, and try and kind of get a handle on it without losing your life to it. So the first steps, once you've decided which platform you want to go for, is to either download the app to your phone or tablet, or visit the website on your computer. Instagram is definitely designed for mobile devices and not computers. There are certain things you can't do on Instagram on a computer. You have to do it on a tablet or a mobile. So once you've either downloaded the app or visited the website, create an account, set up your profile, focusing on the areas that I mentioned before. And worth bearing in mind, I think I mentioned it earlier, on Facebook you will need to set up a personal profile first before you can then create a business page. So once you've created your personal account, find some friends, it can do that based on your contacts list in your phone or various other things. It can try and find people it thinks you know. Once you've kind of got a good list of friends, then you can set up your business page and you can invite your friends to like the page. And generally speaking, that's how people get started right at the beginning. So that's the end of the main bulk of the presentation. There was a question earlier on, which actually came midway through the live session, but seeing as I'm doing this, let's do it this way. So Dorian asked, is the importance of social media really understood from a marketing perspective? Do we need to have a presence on these platforms, and do we need to be regular contributors? Does it really make a difference? My answer was, yes, it does make a difference. It's definitely really difficult to track direct sales from it, however. So the main purpose of being on social media is to raise your profile, is to make people aware that you exist. Either so that they hear about you for the first time through social media, or because they've heard about you some other way and they want to then go and check you out. You know, people do an amazing amount of research these days before they commit to doing things, and that will probably involve looking at your social media channels. So somebody might come across one of your courses somewhere. Chances are they will go and check you out on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are, to see what you're up to, what you do, what do you look like. Not necessarily physically what do you look like, but you know, what sort of things are you posting, to try and get a vibe for whether you're the right person for them. So it is really a picture, a window into you, your business, and so I think it's really important from that side of things. It's quite difficult to track direct sales, although that is easier to do if you decide to advertise on Facebook, which is something I'll sort of touch on in one of the later sessions, because advertising can be a way of literally promoting your courses to people. If you're just posting, tweeting, whatever, for just general day-to-day content, it can be quite tricky to actually track where have people come from. And the other thing is, because people are bombarded with all of this stuff, social media content, people sit and scroll through their phones for 20 minutes, it would appear, at a time, multiple times a day. They're seeing a lot of things, and you become a little bit brain dead to it. But part of the point of being on social media is that you are somewhere in the back of their brain, so that then when they see your logo or hear your name somewhere else, it's not the first time they've ever come across you. It adds a little bit of something to what they already know, and might make them a bit more likely to come and check you out. That said, I do know providers that have had a lot of success and have built their their customer base predominantly through social media, but a lot of it will have been in collaboration with other channels, so as well as, you know, word of mouth plus a bit of potentially paid advertising and that sort of thing. So it's definitely not the golden way to getting everything you've ever wanted, but it's a part of the picture, and it's an expected part of the picture these days, especially for, you know, the sort of millennial age. You know, that's what they assume. If you don't have a Facebook page or anything, then it's becoming less common for that to be the case. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Cool. I don't need to hang around anymore because this isn't live, so nobody else is there. So I hope that for those of you watching this on the website, you found it useful. If it has brought up any more questions, or there are any other particular words that you would like to understand, either drop me an email or just stick them into the search engine. Like Google and other search engines are really good at defining words these days. You know, there are a lot of funny phrases out there from social media, so by all means go and try and find out what it is that the social media network is asking you to do or click on or whatever. There's a lot involved. So yeah, thanks very much. The next session will be next Monday at 2:30, same time again, and it will be on how to post and types of posts. So how often should you post, whether you should cross post, controlling who sees your posts, tagging people, content types, whether you're posting links, videos, stories, photos, that kind of thing. So that's next week. Hope to see you then. Take care. Bye.